The Christmas Martian is borderline unwatchable. It is one of the worst films that I have ever seen, and one of the worst quality films visually that I've ever seen on Amazon Prime. I did watch this on Prime, and basically any scene that has a lot of snow, and it's set around Christmas, so there's a lot of snow, is so overexposed, it is uncomfortable. I'm really surprised that Prime would host such a poor quality film. I'm quite surprised by that. Maybe there are a lot of films like that on Prime and I just haven't seen them, but certainly if you are watching it on Prime, I would say it's almost unwatchable, both because of the visual lack of quality and also because the film itself is just terrible. This was released in 1971, it's directed by Bernard Gosselin, written by Roch, and honestly, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's horrendous. It is so bad. It's about these two children who discover an alien around the time of Christmas. And that's basically it. It is so poorly made. The editing is pretty terrible. Some of the camera work is okay. The sound effects are okay. The design of the alien is very low budget. In fact, the whole film feels like an incredibly low budget film. I did just have a look and I can't find what the budget is. But actually, no, I've just had a look on Wikipedia, and this is a quote from Wikipedia. And in fact, it's a quote from a film blog devoted to Canadian B-movies. And if you want to find out more about this, there is a link on Wikipedia to the blog, to the article, but it says it's nonsensical and embarrassingly low budget. And honestly, that quote is brilliant. It perfectly sums everything up. I have just gone directly to that person's blog. They don't actually state what the budget is, but I imagine it is almost non-existent. It is terribly, terribly done. They do actually have on this website some pretty high-resolution images, which again makes me confused about why the version on Amazon Prime is absolutely diabolical. So maybe if you're watching it somewhere else, the quality might be better, the visual quality at the very least. But it kind of, on Amazon Prime, it looks like somebody's recorded it on a camcorder via a TV from a VHS. It is just horrendous. Mostly the scenes where it's very white from the snow. But the narrative itself is just absolutely dire. The characters are either very boring or just terrible. The Martian is one of the most dull Martians I've ever seen in any film. There's not really anything about this that I can praise. As I said, some of the camera work is okay, and the sound effects are actually not too bad. I don't think the sound effects are bad at all. But everything else, even for the film at the beginning of the 70s, everything else is of poor quality. And unless you want a film that's so bad it's laughable, I don't recommend it. The Christmas Martian is not a good film. I would love to know what the budget is, if anybody has that information. And if you do want to see some high-res images, I definitely recommend checking out the blog that's linked on Wikipedia. But other than that, I'd say stay away from it. It's a terrible story. Well, it's a boring story. It makes sense. It's not terrible in the sense that it's illogical, but it is boring. The characters are dull. The Martian is incredibly horrendous. The performance, no, I don't have any issues with any of the performances. That's not to say the performances in this are outstanding or anything, but I didn't watch this thinking that was a bad performance. But the characters are certainly very bad. Stay away. The Christmas Martian is a terrible film, and while I wasn't expecting it to be phenomenal, I was at least expecting it to be watchable, and I struggled. I really struggled through it, and unless you want to see how bad it is, I'd say it's absolutely worth not going anywhere near.